Hello, it's Duncan. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Because I'm that sort of person, I checked and there are 957 words in the text representation of our test runtimes. Hidden in that data is information about which tests ran first, which took longest, which ran in parallel with others, and which are on the critical path. Great engineers know when to use text and when to use diagrams, so let's have a look at visualizing our tests. The devil is in our data. In the last episode, we built this timing extension, which is a test execution listener, which squirrels away the start and end times of tests that JUnit is running, actually containers for tests and then tests themselves, and then builds a tree of these test stats here so that we can see how long everything took to run. And if I run the tests, there we go. And the motivation here was that the test timings that we're seeing reported by IntelliJ here on the left really don't seem to match my experience. Now the output from this code is down here, and you can see for a given test here it says that dbItems test actually took 1.2 seconds to run, and the individual tests took, well, the first one half a second, the next one 36 milliseconds, and so on and so on and so on. And this data forms a hierarchy so that at the very top, if we go up, oh, too far, here, this is the whole test run. So that took 1.2 seconds. And you remember that 1.2 seconds because that's how long the dbItems test took. So it was actually started first and finished last. So it's a comparatively long running test. It's quite hard to see that in this text representation though. What I'd like is some sort of visual diagram. And I've hunted around for a suitable thing. And I think the closest off-the-shelf diagram is probably a Gantt chart. That's one of the things that we use for planning projects. And it's useful because it shows bars for tasks set out on a timeline with time going from left to right. Now normally these are project management tasks, and this is how long we think they're going to take, but we could use a similar structure for test tasks where this x-axis was how long they actually took. Now I've used plant.uml for this sort of diagram in the past, but I don't think that it has a Gantt chart. Let's have a look. Oh, it does. Let's have a look. Well, that might be suitable. The other diagramming hotness at the moment though is Mermaid. Let's have a look at it. Let's see whether it has a Gantt chart. Ah, yes, it looks like it does. We have pros and cons here. Plant.uml is written in Java, has a jar file, and can generate SVGs for us as part of our process. Mermaid, though, is trendy, and people might watch this video just because of that. So, I think you know which way we're going. Let's ask AI Assistant, please write Kotlin code to generate a Mermaid Gantt chart from a list of test stats. Let's have a go. Well then, let's have a look. This I think is the text for a Mermaid diagram. It has root test and child test indented one after the other. It has a date format, and we have this start and end times by the look of things of the tests. Well, that might well work. Let's have a look at the code. This is just an example, but we have generate Mermaid Gantt chart from a list of root tests. Ah, there we go. So that is going to be this code here. Shall we give it a go? Put ourselves into the right directory in the project view and say create a file from this, and there we have it, generate mermaid gantt chart.kt. Let's add that and see what we've got. Okay, here we are. It uses a string builder, so maybe unfashionably mutable, but it returns a string. So let's go to our timing extension and call that code. So once the execution is finished, we'll print the tree, but we need to remember the stats. And then we'll say generate mermaid Gantt chart from the stats. And we want to save that string to a file. So I think we'll say file in test run dot, and I think it's mmd for mermaid. We'll create a class file. What? Surely Java IO file, java.io.file. Yes, okay. Java IO file dot write text of our mermaid chart in charsets.utf8. Do not know why it couldn't import that. Okay, let's run that. And we're done. And now in our tree, let's have a look at the root test run.mermaid. Oh, it's got an icon which suggests that we might be able to view it in IntelliJ. Let's have a look. Ooh. Well, we've got a line for each test, that's a start, but no bars at all. Oh, except one there. Don't know what that is. So there are a few. And down the bottom, oh, well, we have a little timeline. So we seem to be partly there. Let's add the duration into these labely bits to see whether that makes some sense. So we go here and we've got indent. So we've got done here. Well, we know everything's done, so that's a bit pointless. Let's instead put in here test stats dot duration dot 2 millis with miss. See what we get. And with luck, our diagram will update. No. Or rather, invalid date 1830. That's a bit strange. It was okay until I added in the milliseconds. I wonder if it's trying to get too clever about parsing these numbers. Let's go back here and instead of putting in the milliseconds, let's take that out and have a look. No. I've just tried the string banana, but that's made me realise that there was a colon before done, wasn't there? Ah, that's our problem. Done is a special thing, I guess. Whereas if I put it in here as test stats dot duration dot 2 millis, put a space in there. Let's have a look. Ah, that's better. Okay, looking at the syntax, it seems there are special cases for done, active, and crit. Oh, and also things like until and so on. But the key thing is we need a colon to separate the label from the other stuff. So let's go back and we can take the done out of here. Run. And there we go. Can't see the top one here for some reason. It's got a big bar, but I can't read anything in it. Hold on. Invalid date 00 something. Let's see. We have syntax highlighting here, which is quite nice. Might give us a clue. Go down, down. Ah, here we go. Look. We're finding the colon in the timestamps in the test names here. Ha 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 ha. Let's tell our AI assistant about its problem. We'll say that fails when task names have a colon. Can you fix that, please? Okay, then it says task names are wrapped in double quotes to prevent parsing, and if we contain a double quote, we replace it. Okay, so let's have a look. It's going to be in here somewhere. So that's now saying we'll use task name, display name, replace with stuff. Okay, let's take that and try it out in our file here. So put that in there. Some issue with, oh, interesting. Oh, my brain hurts. Shall we just replace any quotes with a single quote instead? No, don't know why we have an issue. I'm just going to carry on putting in quotes until something works. What? That appears to be 3 quotes. And then it failed all the way up to there. Oh, because now everything after here. Ah! Well, let's take you and put you down there so I don't lose you. Back here. So I think we need 3 quotes, 3 quotes. And then after all that, we're going to replace a colon with a literal colon, I think. See whether it goes. Ah, well, we now have something, and I can read the stuff up there as well. That's good. Does it get wider or not? No. But we do have numbers and, oh, some bars. It also doesn't look like the diagram here uses a backslash to escape a colon, and neither does the parser here. So I think for sanity, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to say replace colon with a space, and we can then not worry about escaping double quotes, I think. The devil is in our data. Right. Well, that's okay, I think. But why don't I have any bars for these things? And I suspect the answer is that we only have second resolution here. So we're saying that this is second 27 to second 27, so that's 0 duration, so we don't get a bar. Let's go and have a look. Here we've got date format. I wonder if we put milliseconds into that. So I think that's .sss. And do we have a format? We do here. Let's put .sss into there. So that should now render our times with milliseconds. Let's have a go. Oh, now we have bars for most things. Splendid. Now then, I'd like to show the relationship between the test class and the test inside it. But this doesn't seem to be doing that at all. We have a hierarchy here of indents, but referring to the documentation, that doesn't seem to be a thing. What is a thing, though, is that we can have a section and those lay out in different colors, something like that. So let's have a go at adding that. I think maybe I'll just hand edit this diagram for now, see how that works. So we would put in a section here, and that would be with the name of the test. So we'd have one section for Init Jackson, and then we'd have another one for days 2 tests, and then another one for retrying tests, like that. And oh, I see on the right hand side here that it is shading these. So days 2 tests has been shaded. Let's duplicate that again, cut it out of there, come down here to standard updating tests, copy that, put it in there. Okay, so that is delineating at least the top level things. Let's try and reproduce that in our code. So here we currently have this depth parameter that's used to make an indent there and is on the lines. It seems it's being ignored, but it's benign and may help us make sense of the text. But what I'm thinking is that we can use this depth parameter and say if it is 1, we can put in a task. So we'd say if depth equals 1, build a append line, and we're going to say this is the, not sure we can have the indent, but let's say indent section, and remind myself, okay, no punctuation in a section, so we go back here, so that's indent section task name and so on. There's a chance, let's have a go. Return to our file. Oh, and here are our sections named Init Jackson's Day 2 test, but we've also got some more information in there that I don't think's all that helpful, especially not as it overlaps. So where's that? Oh, that's here. So I guess we're just using toString on our stats object. Let's have a look. Ah, no, the issue is that we're still putting out the start time and the end time. So let's get rid of that bit. And then we will surround that in braces so that we can take out the extra space like that. There we go. I wonder if it looks wide enough. Not very, but it will do for now. Let's just have a look down. Occasionally it seems that we are rendering the label to the left and sometimes to the right, but I'll take what I can get. And down here, here is our DB items tests, taking up the whole of our times, because the bit here is where we're rendering the sections, bits like this. We seem to be labeling the axis down here. Let's have a look at that. Ah, there we are, axis format, hours, minutes, seconds. I don't suppose that's very helpful to us. Shall we just put in the seconds in the hour and then the dot milliseconds? Oh, I wonder what we use for that. Oh, here we are, output date format on the axis. We can use %s and then %l for millis. Okay, remember that. And we can also change the tick interval. So that goes at the top. So we want %s dot %l and then tick interval. Well, should we say 0.5 seconds? Actually, let's go milliseconds. We'll go 250 milliseconds. See what we get. Hard to tell yet, but at least we get quick feedback. And what do we have down the bottom? Oh, there, 17.6, 17.7, 17.8. It's not clear to me those are 250 milliseconds, but they are spaced out so we can get some idea. So let's take those and put them into our code. And that's going to be, I guess, in this block here. So we'll do that, take that and put it there and end that and that. Run. Well, that's not bad. Oh, but I have 2 axis formats. That must have been there already. So it was, so I'll have to replace that one. One final change, I think, and that is that we're currently sorting these tests by their end time. But I think on a Gantt chart it makes more sense to sort by the start time. So if we go back in here, I think, where were we sorting? Here we are, sorted by end. Instead we'll sort by start. One more time with feeling. Look at our Mermaid. And we see that persistence tests start first, Canterbury updating tests, days 2 tests, and so on. We've got a whole bunch of tests, but there's DB items tests are sorted earlier on now. I guess if we actually look, we'll see that this starts at 996, whereas that starts at 996, that starts at 997. Even though we said we wanted DB items tests first, because we're throwing a lot of threads at the tests, it just happens that it's running a little bit later. So I think that might be a reasonable diagram that we can use to diagnose what's actually going on in our tests. Just before I go, I have found an app on the Mac called MarkChart that renders Mermaid charts and updates if you resave them. It's a little tiny bit clunky because when I zoom in it shifts off there, but I can bring everything back in and we see better colouring, I think, for our test sections. So there's our whole run. I hope you're paying attention because there will be a quiz of the details next week. If you want to take that test, then please subscribe to the channel. Press the like button to vote for more visualization content. Have a think about signing up to the workshop that I'm running at Kotlin Conf in May. And finally, by the time I publish this, it will be too late to get a copy of the book that I wrote in that price before Christmas, but you could get instant delivery of the Kindle edition to reading that dead bit between Christmas and New Year. Thanks for watching.